Hello, everyone. I'm JeanClaude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to another one of our special reports here on the bank runs and system failures. Today's episode is entitled Bank Runs. Your deposits are at risk, even though Joe Biden says they aren't. Let me introduce you to our guest today. Of course, it's Dr. Jim Willie. You can find him at Golden-Jackass. He is, of course, the hat trick letter editor, Mr. Jim Willie. Welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Oh, I tell you, I'm quite anxious, to tell you the truth. Anxious about all these developments. It's like multiple breakdown on multiple fronts. And
Mhm.
what I find amazing is that many people are beginning to see one front when it's all fronts. Okay,
Mhm.
in the recent past, I have made my point that we've got banks, bonds, and the dollar all breaking down at once.
Mhm.
Most people focus on one particular area. I try to cover everything because remember the phrase we heard 2 years ago, there's an everything bond bubble? Okay,
Mhm.
well, there's an everything finance breakdown now, and they cannot get out of it. This is not a situation where they're going to be able to say in 6 or 8 months, well, we got through that. It was not a big deal. This is a very big deal. This is extraordinary damage. There's no way to escape what is coming. And raising interest rates is a destructive policy.
Mhm.
I've said in many recent interviews, they're going to raise rates and continue to raise rates until they break something.
Mhm.
And when they break something, they will break everything.
It looks
Bank,
like we're here now, Jim. And obviously, folks, if you're not aware, Jim and I record these amazing no hold barred pay-per-view episodes here on BeyondMystic.net. We go through the monthly reports and a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in our mainstream news. And of course, what he's talking about there, bust, bond, dollars, and banks. This was the focus of the last show. So check it out here on Beyond Mystic. And Jim, also let people know here, we're doing this first segment, Jim, just so you know, on YouTube and a Rumble here as we wait for more people to join the live stream. We are going to be moving the show here in about 5 minutes to the Rumble section only. But while we're here on YouTube and we're playing nice with all the rules, Jim, talk to the audience members about the hat trick letter here for this month. What are you working on? And what did you have in last month's hat trick letter if people haven't already seen it? And why should they go and subscribe to goldenhalfandjackass.com?
well, that's a long question there. Um, what's happening right now is a quickening.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did quality control work in the early 80s, we had a statistic that we followed, the time between events.
Yeah.
And when that time gets shorter and shorter, I don't know. What do you want to call it? The popular culture, pop culture? They call it now a quickening. The quickening is happening. Okay, last week we had a number of environmental events, and the week before that. Now we're having lines at banks. There are bank issues now, and
Mm-hmm.
I have been pointing to a critical barrier, and that is the U.S. Treasury bonds. The U.S. government debt must be managed, and we'll talk more about the details, but I'm focused on the quickening. I'm focused right now on the several areas that must be managed and are going to be extremely difficult to control.
Mm-hmm.
There's a phrase that I heard that I love because I really like cats. I find them mysterious, to be quite loyal and fun. They now have 1,000 cats in the field and they have to herd them. And it's going to be very, very difficult. The February report was all over the place, a lot of different topics on de-dollarization. Foreign nations are making distance from the dollar. I hate to say it, but a lot of nations are seeing that we cannot continue on the path that we're on. So there's a lot to talk about in the analysis for that. There's some events having to do with crypto. I don't want to get into too many details here on this side. The Russians are involved with some some ideas and concepts that I think represent a major change. I'm excited at the same time. I've got a growing amount of trepidation. Let's just say I'd like to survive the reset.
I'm with you on that too. On one hand, everything that you and I have been talking about for many years to our friends and families and have been shunned and ostracized for are really happening. So we do have a feeling of vindication, but it doesn't really offset the nervousness and the trepidation of all of the system failures that are surrounding us. And also the normies waking up to that fact and perhaps going berserk around us and creating even more havoc in our lives. I'm totally with you on that, Jim.
The normies are going to have a great awakening, and it's going to be quite a shock. And it's going to be a problem for us guys. We'll talk about some of the finer points in the next segment, but the quickening involves the awakening of the normies.
Yeah.
The bank event might be something that opens a very big door for them to much more than what's going on in just the banks.
Right.
I truly believe the quickening is a major event that's going to make the history books. This quickening.
Yeah.
I have said for 2 years, what happens next with the banks will be 3 to 5 times greater in impact than Lehman Brothers crisis, which was badly, falsely named. To the Wall Street, what do you call it? Global financial crisis. The GFC, they started to call it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, actually 15 years ago. Isn't it amazing? We have made no progress in fixing anything. All we've done is double down, triple down, quadruple down, and more. This is not fixable. So I hope people can cross over into Rumble, where we will speak a good deal more freely and, more realistically in detail.
Right. Let me bring the link down to the live chat for you guys now. It's also pinned at the top of this video, and it's also in the description box below. Somebody's asking me, hey, JC, where did the show from yesterday go? This one here, Connie. It's on Rumble. So we started here on YouTube, and the main show is still to be found, Connie, on Rumble. So if you go on to our Rumble channel here, let me just bring that up also for you guys to see the poster here, because some people have trouble finding it sometimes. It's the Beyond Mystic, JeanClaude at Beyond Mystic here on Rumble. So you can see the live show is here now. And if you scroll down, you'll see yesterday's show. Almost at 250,000 views already since last night. Fabulous episode if you haven't seen it already, with Mr. Big Swear, Jason Four, and of course the Silver Guru himself, David Morgan. What a fantastic conversation that was last night. So do go and check it out. Don't fret. Also, Thursday night, returning again, is the War Correspondent Show at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about this segment also, Jim, as soon as we move on to the conversation here to the Rumble channel. I want your thoughts on some of the mic drop moments that Mr. Ricardo Bossi left us with during that last episode. I won't even mention what's on the screen here for the YouTube channel, but we'll get into that here in just a moment.
Not here. So, okay.
Yeah. So, folks, let me just disconnect now from YouTube. You have the live link. Please do go and join us there on Rumble, and we will continue the conversation there momentarily. So let me just remove this.